I was born and raised here in Western Australia. This is my home. I love the place and its people. But I'm not the only person who thinks the West is special. This state is home to some of the last great wild places on Earth. But it's not going to stay this way. Over 50 million hectares of WA are under petroleum lease or application. That's more than 7 times the size of Tasmania. These leases stretch from the wilds of the Kimberley in the north, down along the precious Ningaloo coast, right through the wildflower belt of the Midwest where I am today, straight through Perth's water supply, the Yarragadee Aquifer, and on south to the wine-growing district of Margaret River. There are communities all over the world reeling from their toxic experiences of fracking. It's rampant in the US, and it's really got its teeth into Queensland. Here at home, there's a proud Kimberley countryman fighting to keep his land frack-free.
What the old people did back in the dream time is that they created a song line, and this song line was to provide life to the people, the trees and the animals. That's all it does, is provide one thing, it's life. What goes with that life is water. That water is alive and kicking. And we inherited that, and it's our job to pass our inheritance on to our children. We need to look after this country, our water, our environment, our animals. My name is Micklo Corpus. I'm a named applicant for the Yarru and the Rubibi claim. The claim for Yarru country is over Roebuck Plain. It's a vast area. The federal court granted the Yarru people exclusive possession on the ground where we stand right now.
The Kimberley is one of Australia's last great wild places, but it's under threat. If fracking leases get to full production, 40,000 gas wells could be drilled in the Kimberley alone, and that's going to have a massive impact on the land and on the people, many of whom are Indigenous. Because fracking isn't just ugly and intrusive, it's destructive and it's toxic. All gas wells fail and leak eventually, which means they pollute our waterways and the air we breathe. Dane Pratsky learnt about fracking the hard way. Now they call him Frack Man. His property in Queensland was surrounded by a gas field, and frackers ran right over the top of him. So he's got some tough experiences to share with Micklo.
The oil and gas industry's own statistics reveal that at least 5% of wells fail instantly, 50% of wells fail within 30 years, and eventually all gas wells will fail.
During his own battle, Dane went to the US to learn from American farmers whose lands and lives had been ravaged by the same kind of gas extraction that Micklo's facing.
First thing we noticed on a lot of their agreements was they did not want to take responsibility for damage to your water wells.
People lost, their domestic wells, their livestock wells, their artesian wells.
All this water they'd pump, they could irrigate with it. They told us we could irrigate with it. Irrigate the whole ranch with the water.
And my neighbors flag me down and tell me that there's water coming out around their well house, and it smells really, really bad.
Within the first year, by then we found out it was salt water. We couldn't. It was no good for anything.
You can see all the salt and soda. Well, what's going to grow in that? Nothing's going to grow in that.
My water was pristine, and after this all happened, my water had arsenic and fluoride over EPA levels, maximum contamination levels.
The cows started getting sick, and the crops just wouldn't grow anymore.
We did have artesian wells in our winter pasture, and they're, of course, they've quit and will never come back.
This high sodium and salt water, they couldn't digest their feed, and they die with a full stomach.
At that point, had they admitted they'd done something to the water?
Oh no, never.
We've always been stewards of the land. We've always tried to improve the land. We try to do the right thing, and they just took it and they stomped all over it, and this is here. We're done with it now.
There's so much gas that they don't get out of the water, and they just have to vent it.
Go ahead and use your water. It won't hurt you. Bathe in it, drink it, but leave all the doors and windows open in your house, because well, your house might explode.
All of a sudden there was this huge explosion.
That's Dee's house blowing up at 2 in the morning.
Then I started getting pain, intense pain in my back. But that's part of the chemical poisoning.
And she had massive nosebleeds. They would wake up and the bed would be filled with blood.
We find ourselves, instead of being retired, we're at war. I mean, it happened in 8 years. They destroyed 4 generations worth of work. And that's the cold, hard facts of what's happened here. And I'll tell you what, I hope that you folks over there get together and figure out that what they're telling you, it's not true.
Boreal Energy, they came in and fracked in 2010 on our country without the consent of the traditional people. They're going to be using a large amount of water, millions of litres of water, not thousands, millions of litres of water, going to be injected with chemicals into our ground, 3.5 kilometres under the ground. Because we said no, we know what's going to happen to us now. They will want to take me off this country, and it is my right to say no, to look after my family, my water, my country. This well here is referred as Yellaroo 2, and I think they drilled it in 2008. They fracked it in 2010. They didn't even ask us. They didn't even tell us. The well is leaking.
Where's it leaking from?
Valve 3 kilometres down. That's our basic rights. Not as cultural people, but as humans. We can't settle for nothing less. This is what I stand for. Because I can't give my family and see their family, even my tribe, to drink dirty water.
Micklo, this is your country?
This is the country that Buru wants to frack, or they've got a mining lease over this country. They're exploring for gas. The stage that they are up to is at fracking exploration.
Government say you can't say no?
Yeah.
Even though you're traditional owners of this land,
Yep.
you have no right to say what goes on in it?
Yep.
Well, that's not very fair. Exactly what is happening at my house is about to happen here in the Kimberley. Pipes, they're all here. It's ready to go. We have to get this happening right now because this is what's headed for the Kimberley.
But we've got too much to lose. Too much. It's so precious.
West Australians don't like it when industry just rolls over the top of ordinary people. And they love this country too much to see it surrendered for short-term profit. So Micklo's not alone. There are people all over Australia finding out the government has licensed whole swathes of country around their homes and farms and drinking water. They're told they have no rights over the ground beneath their feet. No surprise then that right across Australia, ordinary people have decided enough's enough. They're going to lock the gate on fracking, because fracking isn't welcome, especially not here in WA. Word's getting out and community groups are linking up all across the continent to resist this noxious and invasive industry. But they need your help, and they need it now. If these gas leases are exploited, if fracking's let off the leash here in WA, 40,000 wells could be drilled in the Kimberley alone, and tens of thousands more across the state. Call your local member and tell them what you think of fracking on farmland, in national parks and Indigenous lands. Defend the rights of farmers and traditional owners to say no to drilling and mining on their country. Join the 400 communities around Australia who've already declared their regions gas field free. Join Lock the Gate and become part of one of the biggest social movements in Australia's history. Follow the campaign on Facebook at Frack Free WA. If you love this place, please help us defend it.